And welcome to Old King Wenceslas's Royal Podcast. That's right, you know how the royals gotta do everything and make a royal version of it. Well, this is the Royal Podcast, and that means it's really expensive and it has like a lot of stuff is gold or something, but otherwise it's not of any specific quality or make that would draw you towards it. The only value comes in it being a royal podcast. And I'm your host, Old King Wenceslas, and I'm joined by my co-host, the digital dominatrix, the matriarch of Mount Gox, the digital guy with the digital eye. Is that good? Is any of this good? I feel like you said it was like 10 seconds before the show started, and I feel like I fell asleep in that moment, and this whole thing is just me dreaming. How's it going, Kevin?
I'm a little sick today. That's why I sound a little bit nasally right now. I took some NyQuil a little bit before the tonight's show started, so I'm on a different level than I normally am. But this is either going to be very low energy or very crazy tonight.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. I think it'll be low energy because this episode is all about Kevin. And I'm going to be listening to Kevin really in depth this episode and not talking over him. Because one thing that you notice while listening to the podcast is Kevin is full of, who even knows? That's the thing, but he's full. He's so clearly full and it needs to come out. And the only thing that stops it is my incessant distractions and interruptions. So we're going to try and get rid of that. How does that feel to you, Kevin?
Is this in response to that one guy on Reddit that said you should stop talking over me?
It was maybe one or two guys, but yeah, it is in response to that. But I was like, oh man, this guy must be totally right. And then I listened to the podcast and I was like, yeah, there's some parts where I'm kind of embarrassed by, but at the same time, in a lot of these places, I feel like I'm giving you space to kind of do your thing. I don't know.
You are. I'm a man of few words, which is probably not a great fit for a podcast.
Yeah. And I'm, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of, most of the time I can be in your mode. I don't know. I feel like I'm a lot of times in that kind of, I'll just kind of chime in mode. But then other times I'm like, I got to fucking diatribe for a while about some shit that's affecting me, so I don't know. Not to say that I'm like, I'm a guy who doesn't like to speak, but it is kind of like I can kind of just chill back. That's what this podcast should be called, is chill back, man. We got to chill back. But yeah, I wonder when, anyway, whatever. But it's your episode, Kevin, and you're sick. So tell us about your symptoms and tell us about how they relate to previous illness symptoms you've had in the past. Because, don't you think about your health in terms of other things that have happened to your health?
True. This has honestly not been that bad. I've just had a really high fever the last couple days, runny nose, and a little congested right now. And then I took some NyQuil, hoping that would just it's actually Dayquil, hoping that would just knock it out before all this started. But instead, it's just made me very sleepy.
That's cool.
Overall though, if getting COVID was 10 out of 10 for severity, this is a 2.
And see, I almost just jumped down. It cut you off again, but then, you barreled through, which I appreciate. I could use that, and I respect that. But, and now I'm talking again, but I wanted this speech that I was doing to be shorter because what I really wanted to do was ask, are you actually done? Is it fine for me to start talking now? Or is there any lingering thoughts or, especially in this time, have you circled back and been like, I wish I had said this?
No, that's that. I feel like we've covered the sickness thoroughly. How are you feeling?
So, I have follow-up questions because I'm listening to you and this is about you. And I normally have follow-up questions. They drift away under the weight of my crushing egotistical thoughts about myself and things that relate to me more heavily. But, so your fever, when I'm sick, I rarely monitor my temperature. Sometimes I will. At the beginning of the pandemic, I did before I got like a blood oximeter, pulse oximeter or whatever, because I was mostly just like, I hope I don't have COVID. And so the oximeter was like, yeah, it'll tell you if you can breathe or not, basically. But so do you monitor your temperature often when you're sick?
No, I can just tell. It's that like you feel hot and cold at the same time. And you want to be under the blanket, but you're sweating. And, that's a pretty clear, I've got a fever.
Yeah. Do you have that symptom a lot? Is that a common like sickness symptom that you get?
Yeah, that and sore throat. Basically, every time, like if I get a sore throat, I can tell, oh yeah, I'm getting sick. That's the first symptom I always get every time.
Yeah.
Do you have one like that?
Well, I was just gonna say that I don't think it's. I guess it's mostly stuffy nose and I guess to a lesser extent sore throat. But when you smoke, you have a kind of stuffy nose and sore throat already. It like destroys the cilia in your throat or whatever, which makes it harder for you to clear mucus and stuff. And so you get kind of post-nasal drip. You get kind of mild allergy symptoms a lot more commonly, basically. And so it can be harder to tell when it's like getting past that into real sick, territory. But I don't get the fever kind of symptoms at all. I don't know. It's anytime I've gotten them, it's been really horrible. It's like really, really uncomfortable. Like most of the rest of the sickness symptoms, I can handle, it's like, it's not fun to be sick to your stomach, but yeah, mostly for me, it's just sore throat and really stuffed up, which, the drugs help a lot with that stuff. The Dayquil that's probably powering you at this point, right?
I feel like it is. Yes.
Yeah. You're more Dayquil than man. Oh, did I cut you off? Oh shit. I got to give you more space.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
No. And everybody, I'm sure this is kind of glib to say at this point, but it's fine to criticize me, and I don't think that guy was wrong necessarily, but it's funny to, completely just think about it forever for the whole episode. And which if I were in that person's position, I would feel really guilty about being like, I didn't mean it like that. I was just kind of, I mean, Kevin is such an because that's the thing. Let's get back to Kevin, not about me. Kevin is such an exciting and interesting person. He's one of the most popular people on the planet according to Time magazine, and he taught the most interesting man in the world about Dos Equis. That's Kevin, one of Kevin's claim to fame. So, it's not surprising that people want to hear more from him. And we are, because I want to hear more about your fucking dental shit. We're circling back to the specific interesting thing the guy wanted to know more about, which when he pointed out, I was like, yeah, that's a good point. There's got to be a lot more here. Well, that
was the whole story.
Dental history. That was that whole one story, which is one of the craziest stories that has happened to you in dental history. Do you have any other, like, it just, because a lot of the story is just, it hurt really bad, I would imagine. A lot of these stories are, it sucked.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the only really memorable one. But yeah, I mean, the dentist, coming in pissed off because his life is over as he saw it, and then taking it out on my mouth was a shock, But yeah,
when did you realize it was a problem? Obviously, when you first saw him, it's like, oh, is this going to be a thing? But at some point, it's like, no, he's definitely doing something. He's definitely like,
well, he was pissed. Like slamming the tools down on the little metal tray thing.
Oh my, yeah, no, that I would be out at that point. I would be all like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. Like, I can't. Like, even pain aside and stuff, I would just be like, this guy is scary. I don't want to be around this scary guy in a room. Like, I don't even graduate to he's going to be operating on my mouth. It's just like, I don't like people slamming things. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, the other detail I remember that I didn't mention was, so like he kept yelling at me that I wasn't opening my mouth far enough. And like my mouth was in such agony. I was really having a tough time doing that. So he got one of those things to like hold your mouth open for you. But he opened it so hard that it actually, like, the corners of my lips, like where your upper and lower lip meet, were bleeding afterwards. Just he tore them. My mouth was ripped open that far.
That happened to a guy I know recently named the freaking Joker. That's what happened to the Joker in the past. Kevin's the Joker, everybody. I'd love to see a Photoshop of Kevin's face with the Joker kind of makeup, photoshopped crudely onto it. That could be funny with the green hair and stuff,
That would be a beautiful look.
We could put that over Jeff's face in the logo. The Joker, Kevin. That could be fun. Oh boy, this is what matters is getting to the bottom of Kevin. We haven't tried to figure out what your deal is in a while. Have I ever guessed that your deal is like you're some sort of nasty little sex pervert who likes to have their like nuts stopped on or anything? Is that a guess of what your deal is? Has anyone made that guess before?
Nobody's made that guess before, but no, that's not me.
Okay, so that's not your deal either.
Yeah,
okay,
not deal.
Shit.
No,
fuck, shit. I'm running low of ideas. Are you Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings? I'm really scraping the barrel of the bottom of the barrel here.
That's a wide jump you just made there.
Yeah, you see my list, and it's all these people crossed off. It's like Britney Spears, no. It's like just, and then Gandalf is like question mark is to the left.
I mean, I like that one better, but no, I don't really see myself as Gandalf either.
So you're an easygoing guy, and you don't get pet peeves, or at least the last time I remember asking you a question in this vein, you don't get pet peeved easily. But is there anything that it's like that you think about for more than a second before it just drifts off your back like water off of that of a duck?
I don't know. The petty thing that upsets me the most is when people just blatantly waste my time.
Mm-hmm. Like for instance, if someone's like, "Hey, I'd love to do a shitty podcast for the rest of your life every Sunday, maybe." I don't really plan on thinking about what I'm going to do or booking guests or anything, but I might just kind of show up for about an hour. Also, it'll cost you money, and no one will make any.
No, this is fun. This is like my hobby. I enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's the most hobbification like I can apply to talking. Like I don't like talking just for talking's sake. Again, if I have an axe to grind, oh boy. But I don't know. I just socializing without any sort of goals, like seeing this timer. I don't know if the audience sees the timer. They don't, right? But
no, they don't.
Oh my God, that really is like, here's how you talk is with a timer set for an hour and 15 minutes or so. And, that'll keep things going. On the Patreon, you can talk to me for a timed amount of time if you spend enough money. So that's a fun thing that you can embrace if you have money.
How's your Patreon going for you? Is it working out the way you thought it would?
Yeah, the main thing is I have this problem where anytime I'm struck by an idea, it's like I can make this idea, I could write this idea and then put it out right now. Or I could schedule it and be like, okay, in June, I'll release this as my thing in June because, I need to be releasing content forever. So that's the problem I'm coming into is like, I want to make all this stuff, but it's like, should I release it now? Should I wait? What should my release schedule be? And that's what I'm trying to kind of settle into because I basically promised one thing a month, but I'd like to at least do more than one thing a month if I can, even if it's not the same kind of caliber of stuff. It's just like, if there's one good thing, it's like, I feel like I'm fulfilling my contract, but I really want to do a lot more. It's just, I don't want to show up in October being like, that's all the ideas. I guess I'm done getting money. I guess I have to say, hey, I'm a hack now. You can keep giving me money, but nothing good is going to come from it from this point. I don't know. That's kind of the problem I'm having. But it's not. I haven't run out of ideas. I'm still just getting really excited by ideas. I've just been working on a cleric subclass. Clerics have different domains based on their kind of religion, and this is like a commerce domain or a trade domain. And it's based off of a god, a deity of trade called Brock. And it's like a riff on like cryptocurrencies because Brock has his own currency called Brock coin. And it's this magical currency and you can like convert it in the game to Brock coin. And also you can make purchases with Brock coin that get validated to the Brock chain. And so Brock validates all the currencies. So if you make a transaction on the Brock chain, then you can like sleuth it down and try and like track it using the public ledger information. And then also you can just sell items. Like this is kind of like in video games, you know, you can just sell any item for like half gold to a shop. Like there's a spell called sell, and you can just sell Brock an item for like money instead of having to like find and then and so there's also a spell that will like package stuff up so you can like ship it or something. And like, you know, if you bring a roll of butcher paper and stuff, it'll wrap a bunch of, I don't know, meat up or something. So I'm making commerce based spells, and it's fun to make stuff like that. It's just I want to be able to be consistent with it, but I don't know. Speaking of which, do you know, giving you space, do you have any follow-up questions to that, you know, or does that remind you of anything in your personal life that the fans would be delighted to hear about?
No, not really. You've mentioned a few times though that, you know, you feel like you're worried about not being able to produce and things like that. Do you suffer from writer's block, or is it, you know, performance anxiety, or you know, where does that fear come from?
It's more just discipline. It's hard to be like, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be able to do this every single month and commit to doing it and remember to do it in time. You know, like I figured I would have more done by now. When I launched, you know, I have stuff built up, but I thought I would probably have as much built up as I had when I started, which is like to say like 2-3 months in advance. And now it's like I maybe have next month's, and it's not like this big backlog, which is fine because every month I feel like I could do about a month's worth of work. It's just different than being like, I got this done and now I'm cruising for a month and I don't have to think about it. You know, it's like I feel like I always got to be angling and stuff and then trying to come up with new stuff, which is fine, because especially if I make more money, because, you know, I'd love to make more stuff and just make a bunch of stuff all the time. It's just you know, it's a lot of money, but I can't necessarily afford to not think about when this fails. This is too much talking about. I had this great idea. I had an idea for a movie. You know, I'm a famous movie creator, and I came up with the movie Bowling for Zolumbine, or whatever the fuck people decide to call it. Wasn't there a plane? Didn't Jeff come up with a plane movie idea?
That like sounds familiar.
On a plane. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I think he came up with that, but I can't remember it. So, you know, that happens as a really successful track record with amazing movie pitches. But the Bowling for Columbine Zombies, whatever the fuck, that was great. And by the Twisted Minds who brought you that comes an idea where it's all the air dies. The air all dies. It's good in some ways and it's bad. It's mostly bad, but like what the air dying means is nothing can fly anymore. And like the air isn't like this living, moving thing, you know, that kind of flows and forms weather patterns. It just all becomes still. There's no more wind. So flowers stop pollinating, you know, like anything kind of that's based on air behaving how you normally expect it to just stops. And so all air travel is impossible. You know, you can't even throw things anymore. So it's like everything's like kind of more inertia. There's more inertia than there used to be. And it's just like really depressing because society's not collapsing, but it's like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is happening? Like it's a bunch of problems have happened, but it's not, everything's not over. You know, it's not like I Am Legend. Was that a movie?
Yes.
With Will Smith. Was that a Will Smith movie? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. That was where society has basically already collapsed. Yeah. So it's not like that, but also the clouds, they fall from the sky because the air is dead. So the clouds are all on the ground. And so everything's like foggy where clouds are, but there's not clouds everywhere. There's just clouds where clouds are. So it's foggy in those areas and the clouds start to die. And so the clouds are rotting. And so there's just this thick, stagnant, non-moving, rotted air that like it's not going anywhere. They can scoop it up, but like, you know, it's a big problem because it's all the clouds in the fucking world, you know? And so, yeah. And then I guess The Rock has to get back to his wife's anniversary party or something. I don't know. But I did, yeah. So and then I tweeted this idea on the old Twitter, and someone who I should come up with the name. Maybe after I say this, you can talk and I'll find the name. But they pitched the name for this movie, which is the perfect name. I did not come up with this. This is not my idea. This idea is by a person who will be named soon. But the idea they came up with for the movie name was Dead Air, which is really good.
I love that.
Now you talk, Kevin, while I can look up this name.
I'm so curious about like the practicalities of how all this works now, though. Like, does speech, like, can you still talk? Because that doesn't have to through the air as well.
The air still vibrates, but it doesn't. It's Louis Elias Badillo, Agent Eli on Twitter.
Okay,
but yeah, so the air it doesn't flow. Basically, it more kind of is stuck. So that's part of the inertia, and it's not like I don't know how. Like I think you get it's like we don't know what's happened, but basically the air is dead. It's like that's what the science says, and you'll see some of the ramifications, but I don't know how deeply we'll delve into the science of it. But that is the premise, is that the air just stops what it does, which is like moving readily and lightly, because air moving is also a function of it being light and not stuck to things, and so it's like,
This is a much better concept than what was that movie, The Happening, where plants decided to. Yeah, this is a much better version of that.
Yeah, well, so I've been going through, and I did go through all the episodes of Blank Check podcast, which has a pretty big back catalog. It's a podcast about movies, and they did M. Night Shyamalan like really early in their run, and they did The Happening. And the thing about The Happening was I never watched it, but I learned so much about these movies that I haven't watched by listening to this podcast, and they talk about how like it was like I don't know. It was either Mark Wahlberg or Matt Damon. It was Mark Wahlberg, I think, right?
Yeah.
He was in The Happening, and he wanted to. I think like he was excited about it because he had this like really exciting take on the main character. It's like, oh, a disaster movie main character. I got this interesting take, and I think M. Night Shyamalan was up for it, and he was like really into it. And the interesting take is that Mark Wahlberg is just a really smart guy, and he's like a science teacher, but he's like it's like a disaster film, and he's like one of the science guys in a disaster film, but it's Mark Wahlberg, so it's the dumbest shit. He's like, his face looks so stupid, and then he's trying to be smart, and he's saying smart things, but it sounds like a dumb guy saying them, so it's just like it doesn't really work, because a huge part of what you see is a show, like a movie trying to pretend that Mark Wahlberg is the smartest guy in the planet. And then also it's just like, oh, it's in the air, and it's like, does that mean if we breathe it we die? And it's like, when it's plot convenient, yes, but otherwise it's fine to not breathe the air. Like, it's just like the physics of that are all over the place, which is what we'd have to nail in Dead Air. Otherwise, people will laugh at us the same way they laugh at The Happening. But I think you can conserve the whole the plants are what's causing it thing. I think it's like the plants killed the air, or like, oh shit, the plants done killed the air. I don't know. They're fighting back, the same kind of The Happening twist, maybe. I don't know. Do you have any movie ideas that you've always thought about or have ever thought about in the past? If you could wave a magic wand and get like a stupid passion project made?
Boy, I don't think so. I'm not a writer. I'm not funny the way you guys are. Not
so
really.
Are a lot of people who have passion project ideas.
I mean, that's true. That's true. But I like to think I'm a little bit more self-aware. I mean, the project, this is not answering your question, but the project I would love more than anything is to be able to finally release Heat Vision and Jack, the pilot episode, as a real thing. Like me and Schraub have been trying to do this for years now. And it's been one dead end after another of not being able to figure out who owns the rights to it or where some of the tapes are and things like that. And I mean, that's the project I want to do, but that's totally unanswering your question.
Damn, that sounds like the kind of thing that if I changed the subject, people would be really mad that I didn't ask more questions about. Is that something you're at liberty to talk about more, or is this a bunch of behind the scenes stuff?
I mean, there's really nothing to tell. I mean, we found a lot.
Who'd you talk to?
Mostly, it's been Schraub. It's been some people at Ben Stiller's company and things like that, trying to locate tapes and things like that. We found a lot, but not all of the tapes of the.
So there's willingness?
Maybe.
Because that doesn't seem like, if you told me that story, I wouldn't think that was the problem is, we got to find these tapes. I feel like they could, they might not have the masters, but they might be able to release something somehow if everyone were on board.
The problem with releasing what exists right now is they made the pilot never expecting to show it anywhere. So they used all this copyrighted music that would cost a fortune.
Right. Yes. Okay.
To release. So what I wanted to do was re-edit it with different music. And then also possibly edit it because Dan and Rob had a different cut of it that they wanted to release. So could we recreate that? Could we do this sort of thing? But without finding all the tapes, that's a little bit difficult. And then the issue of who actually owns the rights to it is a surprisingly difficult conversation that nobody had a good answer to after a lot of asking around it. Normally the problem is everyone is claiming they own the rights to it, and in this case, no one is saying, like, they're all
that's a better problem to have. To it. Yeah, that's like, because again, if you get it's like, they don't have like the unedited footage. Was it on film back then?
Bits of it were on film, but not all of it was. But, we found a lot of the dailies that were transferred to VHS. There's apparently a Betacam copy somewhere that I'd love to get a hold of. But, I have probably 80% of the raw footage on VHS that could be cut together into something if we could figure out who owns it.
But VHS is obviously not the optimal format back then. Like, that's more lossy.
Yes, yeah. These weren't meant to be like production masters. These were just like, people working on the show wanting copies of what was being worked on.
Fuck, man. How do you lose production masters like that? That's crazy. Or like, why do you even split them up? Like, why would they ever go apart from each other?
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you want to expound more on how you don't know?
I mean,
again, thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks for checking out the Reddit and participating in our burgeoning, vibrant community. And keep doing it despite all my attempts to smack you down. Sorry, continue, Kevin.
No, I mean, this is one of those things that went through, production hell where, like, one company wanted, then another company, then they were going to do a spinoff of something else. And then, like, the rights got just passed around from company to company so many times that no one's really sure who got left holding what, and it's possible that, the company that ended up with the tapes is not the company that actually owns the rights. So they didn't think to save the tapes, possibly, it's one of those hard to answer questions.
The thing that sucks about the modern age is that stuff like that is the kind of stuff that in a proper functioning society we could permanently avoid. Like, we could keep records better as a society if that were a societal value that we upheld. We could do stuff like that, especially in the digital age and stuff. But instead, everything's going to get more and more lost. There's still going to be, now that everything's digital, there's more of a trace of it. But I just find like everything just getting so cluttered and there being so much more bullshit information is going to make stuff like that harder and harder to find because it's just going to seem like it's more scattered. I don't know. Maybe that's, I guess it depends. I think it's like, it becomes more attention based where it's like, if people are like, hey, remember that thing, then it'll be everywhere. And if people are like, oh, I watched this one commercial and no one ever talked about it or even saw it, then it's like, well, that's not going to be there because no one cared enough to curate it into the future collection or whatever,
Right. By the way, just to explain to people listening, if you don't know what Heat Vision and Jack is, because I'm realizing now that that's a little obscure possibly, it was going to be a TV series that Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub created back in, like, I think it's 99, with Jack Black and Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson, Ron Silver. It was going to be an amazing TV series about a astronaut and a talking motorcycle. It's sort of like a spoof a little bit of shows like Knight Rider and things like that, but actually with like a coherent plot line. And, they filmed a pilot for it. And then a whole bunch of drama happened where it got picked up by Fox, but then not picked up by Fox, and then back and forth and back and forth. And it never ended up getting anything beyond just the first pilot episode being filmed. And my dream was to be able to finally like officially release that one episode as like a Blu-ray or something.
Well, it sounds like you're a lot closer than it sounded when you first kind of brought this up, which it seems potentially possible. Certainly not easy. and maybe impossible, but it seems like there's pieces in the world that exist to solve the problem, whereas sometimes that's not possible. That's not the case.
Yes. Yes, I'd agree. I mean, it's definitely doable. It's just a case of, it's going to cost a lot of money, and is it worth the effort to go down that route for something that we don't know how many people would care about?
Yeah, which is why it's a passion project. But so just to kind of drill down a little bit, Hollywood behind the scenes or whatever, I wouldn't say it's like a common thing necessarily that a property gets moved around like that, but it is a thing that can happen where something is like hot or it's the darling or whatever. So it has a lot of speculation and a bunch of things want a piece of it. So either it gets passed around or optioned in various ways, or, multiple people want to get in on something. And the more something changes hands or ownership, the more the original intent gets like fudged by this slime that these corporations kind of cover it in. And eventually it gets just so slimy. People are like, well, what even is this? I want money. This is just mud, and then they go look at something that looks more clearly like just a product they can buy or something, So it can happen even when people are like, this is going to be the center of our whole marketing strategy or something. Then it just kind of fades away because the strategy never got too far beyond a strategy. It kept getting pitched and bought in and stuff, but this or that never happened, or this guy went on vacation in a crucial month, and then the whole, lineup for the 3 years big plan is like completely changed. Like, I don't know. There's so much. I don't know. The craziest thing. Yeah, go ahead.
What seems to happen too at a lot of networks is that, like, whoever the president of that network was would like pick his favorite shows, greenlight all of them, and then they'd have a bad season or something, so he gets fired, someone else comes in to replace them and goes, well, none of his picks were good, so I'm canceling all these things. And so, the internal shakeups at the networks would cause a lot of these things where, like, this guy was making bad choices, obviously, so anything he greenlit, we should just cancel before we spend any more money on it.
100%. And the thing is, there's like this kind of dual world that like the corporate, or that the not agents, or, suits, let's call them suits, kind of deal in, where they need to maintain their reputation as suits. And so that means they have to be seen giving notes and emails where people know who's giving what notes before they circle out, because it's like they give their notes internally to the circle of email people that gets seen by the big boss's assistant. So if they see that they're not giving notes, maybe it looks bad. And so, but we don't see that because someone else copies all those notes down and sends them to us. So you don't see the whole email chain, but it's like there's this whole shadow world where they have to do stuff to make sure they seem effective, and it affects most. I don't think the people who are the most victimized by this are these kind of heads, department heads or programming heads, but these people, when they come into power, the way they assert themselves, and this happens with all sorts of workplaces, when a new kind of power position is hired or something, they make a lot of big changes. Usually part of what gets them hired is they have this vision or this plan or this project that, the management is like, yes, this seems like what we need. So, in an earnest, honest sense, it can just be them executing that plan. In a less earnest, insecure sense, it could be them trying to prove that they deserve the authority they've been given or can be trusted to wield it and can't be pushed around like a substitute teacher. There can be all these different reasons, that come into it that have nothing to do with like anything else. But the main way it manifests is these department heads. They come in, they basically cancel the whole production slate, again, like you said, other than things that they personally think are awesome. And often that they have some sort of identification process with. Maybe it's the things they're most familiar with when they were explained things during the onboarding process of being an executive. I don't know, but they'll pick a couple or they won't pick anything, and they'll try and kill as much as possible because that frees up the development dollars for them to make their hand-picked pet projects. And so then they want to make the stuff that they did, because if the stuff that they didn't make goes and is successful, well, it doesn't say anything for this new guy, does it? And, the worst thing that could happen is if it's really successful, it's like, well, maybe that guy actually had some bad ideas or good ideas, especially if you then make shows that don't go well. And then it's like, oh my God, that that last guy had these great shows, but this guy, oh my God, he can't get anything over, 300,000. I don't know, And so like there's all these incentives to just kill everything and start from scratch because it can, in the shadow world, it can look really bad for you as a suit. And that's not necessarily a good creative environment, but it's just one of the weirdest things about becoming kind of immersed in the business of Hollywood. Even when you read the trades and stuff where they discuss a lot of this business more explicitly, like I still think you miss that it's like it might as well just be the gods or something. People are just doing stuff in the shadow realm that might as well not exist. But the ramifications of all that stuff, whether someone likes this car when they came into a meeting or someone saw the color green on their way into the office or something, like it can have so many downline effects on all sorts of things that make or break whether or not we can make shows and stuff. And obviously we're really privileged to be able to work in this kind of creative environment and space. But the downside of that is it's like, is it raining sci-fi today? Oh, let's capture some sci-fi dollars in our cup, and it's like, if you have the sci-fi bowl, then you can get the money. But if you had a Western bowl, then it's like, I guess you're out of luck until the Western dollars show up. It's just, I don't know, whatever. You want to eat some shit? Before that though, do you have any final thoughts, or has any thoughts arisen by anything I've said during that whole rant?
No, I'm good. I'm good, and that was very insightful of the way you explained it, way better than I was trying to.
Well, it's really good context to to talk about why shows like Heat Vision and Jack die and they don't come out, and it's not necessarily because it was bad. And sometimes shows can die because they're good or something, So it's like, yeah, I think it's worth. When you were explaining it, I was like, yeah, no, I guess people might not even know enough to even understand this context. So yeah, but what do you want to start with, drinking, or do you want to start with fooding?
I'm really curious to try the new Mountain Dew. If
so we got a new Mountain Dew. Do you want to show it to the lovely fans who are in the That Happens live chat and not the Strabo video Discord?
Yes. So this is Mountain Dew Uproar, which is only limited to the southeast part of the country, I think. It's an exclusive.
Yeah, it's only by Publix brand stores, which I don't think really exist on the West Coast, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it is berry kiwi flavored Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm. So I will say that the packaging looks not exactly, but it looks incredibly similar to the Major Melon packaging.
Yes. Well, here, let me grab it.
It's got like a peach color to the beverage, it's a bit more orange or red than your standard kind of Major Melon pink, but it's definitely in that pocket, kind of like a ruby red grapefruit. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah. Sorry. So here's talk, Kevin.
Yeah, this is Major Melon in the small can here, and Uproar here. So yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's definitely more red and maybe a little less blue in these greens. So it's like a little more red and a little less blue, I would say. And there's a lion and kiwis because it's berry kiwi flavor, probably strawberry kiwi, right? That's a standard beverage. You don't really see like blackberry kiwi or blueberry kiwi, do you? And I just got to mention, to throw cameras back and forth, I have to be silent or Kevin has to talk. So that's why we were talking about Kevin talking earlier. If you're listening to the podcast, that's a fun little mini game that happens.
It is. It's always a challenge.
Yeah. But so do you want to try it or do you want me to try it first? You seem excited about it. You want to try it? You should try it. All
right. So let me open it up here.
Yeah. Give Kevin the rock.
Oh, it smells very strawberry. Very, very strawberry.
Very strawberry. Strawberry soda's good,
Yeah. Where Major Melon was definitely watermelon. This is similar but strawberry.
Yeah, because chemical strawberry is very similar to kind of chemical watermelon. All the fruity flavors kind of meld together. He's giving it a drink.
I like this. I really do. This is a lot like Major Melon but strawberry.
Okay.
I'm not really tasting that much of the kiwi. Maybe there's a little bit of kiwi in there, but it's a lot more strawberry than kiwi, I want to say.
Yeah. And kiwi is a strong flavor. I guess the reason why they package kiwi and berry together is they both are these really acidic, kind of sour, tart sweetnesses. That's they do really line up. Kiwi's great. I always had a lot of kiwis growing up. My parents bought a lot of kiwis. Do you have a lot of kiwis growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in Nebraska, where we're a little bit further away, I think, from that. So while we could get kiwis in the store, they were always nasty and kind of looked like they had taken a long truck ride to get there. So they weren't the treat that they are, I think, for for you guys. Well, but yeah, I love kiwis.
They look like shit. They look like brown, furry kind of garbage. So they look worse than that, is what you're saying?
Yes. Bruised and, there never was a good looking kiwi in the store. So.
Yeah. I don't know that I have like great sense of taste, but this to me tastes a lot like Major Melon. Like, I think it's just because the core of it is this kind of dew citrus and stuff. And that kind of plays with the fruitiness of both of these kinds of flavors. But I feel like if I woke up and had one without knowing, I feel like on any given day, I'd just guess one or the other. And like, regardless of what it actually was.
Right. And I wouldn't identify this as a Mountain Dew flavor either. I don't think this doesn't have the same Mountain Dew taste that most of the other ones do,
which in the past has been a negative for us. But this, I think, is like it's like a strawberry soda. It's like a fruit soda. Like those on their own are fine. Like a fruit Fanta is pretty good. So this kind of stands as a fruit soda in a good way. I think like it's worth it if you wanted something strawberry, which a lot of times I do more than say grape or something,
Yeah.
Damn, man. Well, it's 28 minutes until this timer ends. The thing about this timer, Kevin, and this is not a critique, but when I look at the timer, I think that the timer is like, oh, when this timer ends, it'll have been an hour 15 minutes. But then the episode comes out and it's not an hour 15 minutes. It's like an hour 10 or something. Like, so is the timer set differently depending on our start times, or is it set to the same time every time?
It's always set to the same finish time, but we don't always start at the same start time.
So it's pinned to the finish time. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so you would never expect it to turn out a consistent result because we start at different times. Okay,
right? Because what leads up. So for those of you that don't watch the show live, leading up to this is a show called The Portal. Steve Sutton did this masterpiece of sci-fi. So we show one episode of The Portal followed by his commentary, and those are wildly different lengths, which makes scheduling the shows very difficult. So sometimes it goes a little bit under, sometimes it goes, like today it went a little bit over. So our start time was a little bit late.
Yeah, it's really stupid of me because it makes perfect sense, but the thought never occurred to me that it's like, oh, this could be a different time every time. I was just always like, oh yeah, it's a minute 15 timer. And then when it's like, but he didn't cut anything. Why is it a minute 9? Did he cut 6 minutes of the podcast? Is he cutting dead air? Like and I was just like, it's not a problem. It's just been confusing. And so it's interesting to me. This is we're breaking new ground in podcasting history, I think. Has there ever been two white guys talking about a boring topic? And, I don't even like being the guy who's like, haha, we're not diverse in any way. But talking about the timer that we use to keep track so I know when I can stop talking. And the reason I brought it up is because this time is a delicate time. Because if we go too long and then we try to break into D&D, it's not enough time for the D&D. So it's like at about this time, it kind of becomes like a sink or swim moment where it's like, we're going to try to talk about something and then go to D&D, which will mostly mean that we're talk about something and then kind of not have time for the D&D and either have to peter out or kind of stretch or do, honestly, worse version of D&D than not doing D&D. And this is me saying, this as a person who has played a lot of suboptimal D&D and also has not played a lot of D&D in place of suboptimal D&D. So I feel like I'm in a unique position to compare. So we have more foods that we could try, but we're at this crucial time that always happens to me, and I'm, and here I am, and so I'm walking you through it. What do you think? Because you're the one player in the campaign. You're the only one whose attention and effort and entertainment matters. So if you're not having a good time, there's no reason to do this other than the fans, I guess. But fuck the fans. I've been doing the D&D stream, and we could just put the D&D stream on the That Happens blog. We don't even have to do the show. We could just put that up instead if the people want D&D. I want to give people D&D, but when you're talking and there's a timer that can tell you when you can stop talking, it kind of it changes your value system a little bit, you know?
Does the clock stress you out? Like,
no.
Should I not put the clock up?
No, and when Harmontown was happening, you could always see the time. It's not a timer, but it effectively is a timer, because when you see it's 8:30, it's like, oh, there's an hour and a half of the show left. You know, so it's like, but that's always been a part of Harmontown. It's always been part of my relationship with Harmontown. I'm just not the only one who has to talk, so I'm not commenting on it all the time.
Yeah. No, but Harmontown didn't really have a fixed stop time. If the show went 15 minutes over, it went 15 minutes over, and it wasn't, other than the interns working at Nerd Melt, no one really complained, you know?
Yeah, Jeff usually would want to try and end the show, and Dan would want to, he would sometimes want to end the show, or often he would just be talking about something that I wanted to keep talking about. And, you know, everyone was interested and wanted to get, the whole audience would want to keep going, you know, keep it going and stuff. So, yeah. Everyone wins. What do we do though, Kevin? You're the D&D guy now.
I'm gonna follow. You're the dungeon master though, so I'm gonna follow your lead here. If you'd like to play some D&D, I'd love to. If you want to try these snacks, we do have some bizarre ones tonight.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing: is that normally I would say that makes a lot of sense. Kevin's a man of reason, and he's speaking truth to power, you know. But today, it's actually an episode that's especially about what Kevin wants, and you know, giving space to Kevin. And so I think we really are going to need you to make a decision here. You know, otherwise that guy will probably comment on Reddit again. I'm sure he's not hating himself at this point. And I'm so sorry, by the way. Thank you for commenting on Reddit. I appreciate it. It gives me something to do, is to look at the comments on Reddit.
Let's do D&D then. We'll save the snacks for next time.
Wow.
We didn't do D&D last time. Are you prepared, or do you want to do a snack while you get ready?
I'm prepared. I just hope that you're not doing it to spare my feelings, which is not. I shouldn't be guilting you with that. That's just making it worse for you, the person who I'm ostensibly carrying. Speaking of which, I don't know if you knew this, guys. Maybe you don't care because it's not Kevin that we're talking about. And this episode is all about Kevin, so it's not about me or what I want. And I don't know who made it about Kevin. I don't know who decided, it was, I don't know, like, who. I wish I could talk to that person. But it's actually my birthday this week. It was just my birthday, not Kevin's birthday. So it's interesting that we're spending so much time talking about him and caring about everything he wants, because I can't get off of a Reddit comment that someone is fully justified in making and is completely not out of line in any way. And I'm just making the biggest deal about it. Isn't that interesting that I'm doing that instead of celebrating my birthday on the show?
What did you do for your birthday, by the way?
Nothing. It's fine. Let's play D&D.
No, for real. You did absolutely nothing.
Someone sent me something that I don't want to get into too much detail about. It's all fine. It's all above board, but there's just reasons to keep it mysterious. And so I hung out at home doing the thing related to the thing people sent me. Oh, and it's not drugs, by the way. It's not like someone sent me drugs like mushrooms or anything, and I was like, I don't want to say that I did mushrooms. Like, but yeah, that's all I did. I didn't go see anything or do anything. I don't know. I'm hunkered down. You know, it's Spencer it's did pandemic. PCP everything's what?
Spencer did PCP on his birthday.
Yeah, that would be cool. Fucking bath salts. But it's just, you know, I don't know. They're stopping all the masks. They're dropping all the mask mandates, and the pandemic's not over. So that's not going to be good. And so I'm like, I guess I got to wait even longer now. It's like my gauge for what's safe and what's not is different than other people's gauges, but I think mine's pretty good. If you ask me, I think it's pretty good. And, you know, I hope it holds, and I hope I don't get COVID. That would be cool, because otherwise I've been wasting my life for nothing. What am I doing? The conservatives were right. I love guns now, etc.
Well, even if you got it today, that's still better than you haven't gotten it 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it's less validating. It's only validating if I never get COVID for the rest of my life.
Do you believe in any of the theory that it's just going to become like the common cold and we're never getting rid of it?
Well, that's what we want to happen. The problem is that hasn't happened yet. Allegedly, the Spanish flu eventually did that. It took like 5 years or so. But so I expect that will happen eventually if nothing crazy happens, but we have to let it get to that point. That's the thing. It's got to, like, the genome has to become stable or something. That's the problem, is it's not stable enough so it can still mutate in drastically dangerous ways that we can't predict. We could, the reason that, I'm getting to a topic where I don't know what I'm talking about, but one of the reasons why we can do vaccines against the flu and do flu shots every year is because the flu is predictable and stable enough that we can track the different strains and go, like, I think we should vaccinate against these ones. And we can't do that with COVID. We can't get ahead of it, which is what we need to do. I mean, we're close, especially with the RNA vaccines. They're supposed to make it easier to tailor a vaccine to the specific strain of virus and print new vaccines way faster. So that could be really helpful in that front, but we're not at the point where we can deploy a 3D printed government vaccine within any reasonable time frame, which should eventually be possible with the technology, if anyone cared about us dying, which they don't. Yeah. So what are you going to do? All you can do is not trust anyone to keep you alive, because we've all been hit by zombie lightning, baby, and we're all hiding it. Another one of my brilliant fucking movie ideas. Jesus Christ, give me an overall deal, people. Am I crazy here?
Do you see yourself actually doing that, like being a filmmaker?
I don't think I can write well enough to do enough. I feel like I could help a lot of stuff, but I don't think I could really be like the writer. Sometimes an idea guy gets paired with like a writer guy, and then they can work as a team. Like, I can maybe see something like that, but I don't know. Just screenwriting, the technical aspect of it just seems like something I don't know if I'll ever really nail to the point where things look good in a professional setting to Hollywood tastemakers. I don't know. I think it kind of requires more of a being on the pulse with just what humans are. And, someone who's more out of sync is like, no, that's an excuse. I'm just not working very hard at it. Anyway.
Is there a job you'd rather have?
I don't know. It would be cool to work at Wizards of the Coast, but I think if I had a job at Wizards of the Coast at some point, I would be like, I don't like this anymore. I want to do something else. No offense, but I've heard it can be a tough place to work for. But it would be cool. Like, doing this D&D stuff is fun. It would be cool to do D&D stuff. Maybe the Big Dogs D&D that we do will, get popular enough to start making money. I don't know. Maybe it would be cool to do stuff like that. I don't know. I've never really had a long-term plan or a career. If I did, I would just go do that. But I don't have any good ideas, Yeah. Steve Agee is the same way. He's just doing what he's doing because that's what he can do. That's what he's in the position to do. And you got to survive. Why? You got to go work at a Amazon facility? I could. I don't want to. I probably would have got a job by now if it weren't for the plague, just because it's like, I'll make money. That's fine. It's just scary to be like, you could die though. You could go to work and die. Which I know has always been the case, but whatever. Do you want to play D&D, or are you being evasive about it? I don't know. I just don't want to disappoint anybody. I love D&D. I don't like pushing it on people. I don't want to be accused of pushing D&D on people.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So do you remember what's been happening?
Okay, so in this timeline,
this timeline doesn't matter.
Wait, so making sure I'm remembering where we're at here. We were visiting with I'm part of the Knight of the Southern Sky, and the Northern Sky was attacking. My friend Rollo, who was I thought was a friend of mine, is the one who ended up kidnapping this princess in front of me.
No, that wasn't Rollo. Rollo is your friend. He's trustworthy.
Oh, Marcos.
That was Marcos.
Marcos.
He was an old friend of yours.
Yes, is the
we
one.
haven't seen.
Right. So we were.
You didn't know what happened to him, because what happened to him spurred your memories.
Right. And then from there, I'm a little bit blurry because I don't have notes from after that.
Yeah, basically nothing happened. Do you want to hit the music? I could probably figure this out.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. Last time, I guess, yeah, whatever. Last time Why am I getting caught up? It was last time. Last time on That Happens, the D&D part of That Happens, our heroes had just saved the city, or at least were part of the effort that generally saved the city from the attack that deadly Nightshade was causing on the people. And then they took a boat, and the boat hit some choppy water, and the boat crashed into an island. And oh boy, it shook so hard, and everyone was thrown thrown around in the deck of the ship. And the freaking Johnny DeFever, he hit his head really hard, and in his dreams he was remembering the story that he was remembering in the past, but he had gotten distracted, or actually I guess he got knocked his sense back into him by Fuzzy Knuckles, right? He was like, hey, we gotta go. But you sink back into your memories and remember once more back to the academy, back to when because you remember back to a further time where you were also remembering your days back at the academy, where the Duke was coming to town. It was an honor, but in preparation of the Duke coming in town, it seems like you've been hired to friggin' deal with some bandits that were escaping through the city. You can't let the Duke, be around when there's bandits on the foot and such. Now, oh God, what have we done? Okay, so yeah, Order of the Northern Sky. You were part of it, protecting the princess. Order of the Southern Sky. They showed up. They're like, give me the princess. Fighting each other. You were killing each other. And
wait, I thought it was the other way around. I thought I was the Southern Sky and it was a Northern Sky.
I think it was the Northern, but also when you first were reading your notes, you said you were the Northern. So that's also what I'm going off of.
Okay.
Because I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm pretty sure you're the North.
My notes say that I'm part of the Knight. I'm a Knight of the Southern Sky, and it's the Northern Sky that's attacking.
Oh God.
Either way.
No, it's important. Well, it's not important right now, but it's important. We'll look it up, or I'm looking it up. But so anyway, you were in the town, or you're in the city of Iagros, which is a city that is around it's the capital of one of these areas. And so it's a big city. In the middle of the city is a castle. Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure you're north. I think this is north. Yes. So yeah, you're the north sky. The southern sky was coming for the princess, which was interpreted as essentially an act of war. You don't know about the diplomatic fallout because you were remembering this story that I'm telling you now, but you still are you were mercenaries for the northern sky, and you had just been roused. Also, and this is never going to matter, but just to remind you of how much I pay attention, you had just spread a rumor of a treasure goblin that was in the nearby plains. That was just something you, as far as I understand, made up. But that's, I'm keeping track of that. That's something that happened, and I remember it, even, and maybe a fan will remember it. Anyway, what the fuck am I doing? Anyway, your boss showed up. And he was like, hey, we got a job. There's bandits that have been sighted. They're part of the Corpse Brigade, which is like a group of bad guys that you've heard about. And they're retreating. They were retreating through the city. We got to cut them off before they join up with a larger host of Corpse Brigade fighters that are south of here. So they're kind of like a terrorist group, essentially. They're kind of marauding the land, building up forces, recruiting members, and they've been causing all sorts of problems. So and also, you haven't been dispatched on any jobs, but that the mercenaries and the knights have been tasked with dealing with the Corpse Brigade. So this is like a constant thorn in your guys' side, but you've never fought them. So they're like, yeah, if you go on the West Aqueduct on the 3rd Street, it's called 3rd Street on the West Aqueduct. There should be heading through there in 20 minutes. If you go now, you should be able to make it before they get there. And you got to stop them and see what information you get. But don't let them escape. If they escape, we're fucked. They may have crucial information that needs to be suppressed, learned, or stopped dead in its tracks.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's... I should head out then. So do I have anybody with me that can come with me for this, or am I completely on my own here?
So they're like, Johnny, Marcos, you take Rolo and Geffen, and you go over there and you take care of it. We'll give you Clyde too. So there's 3 people, I guess it's 5 people, including you. But it's you and Marcos and 3 other people. But you're in charge. And Marcos is like, he's strapping his armor on already. He's like, we better make haste. I'll follow your lead unless you say anything stupid.
Okay, well let's head to the aqueduct then and get there before they show up.
All right, yeah. So you do, you don't have a lot of heavy armor or anything to don or weapons, and so you're there pretty quick. The mercenaries are not particularly heavily armed. Geffen at this point doesn't have his nice armor that he has. He kind of has more standard issue armor and stuff. But yeah, so you get to the aqueduct, and it is actually at this point, it kind of cuts into 2 aqueducts. So the kind of street is broken into these 3 kind of lateral sections that are separated by 5-foot aqueducts that you'd have to kind of jump across. You could probably jump across them, but you got to be careful. Otherwise you might fall in, So on these 3 strips of land, there's 6 buildings, kind of 2, and 2. They're kind of rows of, they look like houses, but sometimes in this part of town, houses are like cottage industries. So someone might sell flowers out of their house or something. So, but these are all closed. It's a Sunday, so there's no real business. It's a quiet quarter of the store, and you haven't heard or seen any obvious signs of people. There's a couple people walking around, kind of taking a Sunday stroll. But you don't see any signs of conflict, so you may have beaten the bandits here. What do you do? What's Rollo's like? What do we do, boss?
Is there somewhere that we can kind of hole up where we can see who's coming, but we're not completely exposed?
You look around. The best thing you can do is one of the buildings. A couple of the buildings has chimneys, but one of the buildings, the chimney is in a position where you think you can kind of hide behind it and be kind of nestled between the crook of the roof and the chimney and kind of squat down there and you're relatively well hidden from all but a couple angles. And you don't know how you can get on that building, but it's not super high. It's maybe 15 feet. The roof is 15 feet high, so you can climb up there maybe.
Okay, yeah, guys, you want to climb up the chimney and see if we can hide back there until something shows up?
Marcos is like, Clyde, you take watch. If anyone says anything, tell them to talk to me. But yeah, he follows you and Rollo follows you. And so that's everyone, I think, other than Clyde, who's keeping watch. So you climb up there. Do you have your dice?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so roll an athletics or acrobatics check, whichever is higher.
I don't have any for either.
Okay, so just roll it and tell me what you get.
So it's a 20?
Yeah.
20.
There you go. Wow, it's a critical hit. You find a box that's the perfect box, and you just climb right on it. It's exactly 8 feet tall, and you can pretty easily reach the ledge once you get up the box. So it's quite easy, and everyone can get up there quite easy and quietly without a lot of noise. And so you're in this kind of pocket on one of these buildings in the corner of this kind of 6-building arrangement in this general area. And again, there's people strolling. You don't see anything at the moment, but it hasn't been 20 minutes quite yet.
Okay, well, guys, let's each pick a direction. Let's keep our eyes open. Let's just look for who's coming. Anything suspicious, you pipe up right away, and let's keep our eyes out.
Okay. So after not too long, you see 4 people. They are in dirty clothes. Their boots look worn out. A couple of them have daggers drawn, and a couple of them have kind of swords strapped to their back that aren't drawn. And they're just running. You can tell they're exhausted. They look like they've been running for quite some time. There's no guards chasing them or anything. So if they're running from something, you don't see what. But you get the sense based on the kind of green kind of embroidery and what do you call it, markings and stuff, that they're probably members of the Corpse Brigade.
Okay. So
they're running straight towards you. They'll kind of pass. They'll probably pass within 30 feet of you, but not super close as they're running this way. But if you don't stop them or engage them in some way, it might be hard to catch up with them.
Okay. So I have a bow, correct? Yes.
Yeah. Is it a bow or a crossbow? Well, either way.
I think I have both.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think you do have both. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I pull out my bow and aim it square at whoever's up front of the party that's coming towards us. And I yell at them, stop, identify yourself.
One of them starts to slow down, one of them towards the back, but the rest of them aren't slowing down at all. They're still running. And one of them starts shouting, but you can't, it's not like towards you, and you can't get a sense of what he's saying, but he's probably shouting to the other guys. But you're still probably about 100+ feet off at this point. But they don't seem to have noticed enough to want to stop, at least. Or they don't care. One of the two.
Okay. I have Ray of Frost, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that slows them. Will that slow just one down, or can I aim that?
If you hit one person, you can maybe slow them down by 10 feet for like a turn. One turn, I think.
Okay. That doesn't sound like that's going to do very much.
No, I mean, maybe you could do Ray of Frost at the floor to kind of turn it slippery or something. I don't know. That's an idea.
Okay, let's give that a shot. I didn't know. Okay, let's aim Ray of Frost at the ground directly in front of these guys and see if we can't make them, stop a little bit.
Based on timing and stuff, you can only get one of them because you have to basically put it right in front of his feet. Otherwise, you think he'll probably dodge it,
Okay.
So what's your spell save DC? Do you have your sheet? Shit,
yeah,
we gotta get...
pull that up.
It's
Spell save is
15.
DC is 14.
Okay, so he does make his save. So you shoot it down on the ground. He slips a little bit, but he catches himself and he keeps going, and the rest of the guys dodge out of the way. At this point, they're about 40 feet from you, and they're 40 feet from kind of crossing you and getting to the point where they're running away from you. Now, they're still kind of running towards you. They still haven't really noticed you just because they're kind of focused on running. I mean, they've noticed that they're being attacked, but they don't know necessarily where it's coming from,
Okay. So, I yell at them again, stop, don't make us attack you. If you don't stop right now, we're opening fire.
Okay, so make a persuasion check or an intimidation check, whatever is better.
+6 for persuasion.
Okay.
So I roll a d20 then add 6 to it?
Yeah.
Okay. 7 + 6, so 13.
All right, well... I rolled really high, unfortunately. So, no. He says, we're not stopping for nobody. And then Marcos is like, for fuck's sake. And Marcos grabs Rolo and throws Rolo at the guys. He takes one of them out, and two of them kind of trip and stop. They kind of whirl around and assess the situation. And Marco's like, we have maybe about 5 seconds before they start running again. Do you have any other plans, or are we just going to kill these guys?
Let's try to leave one alive, so we can get some information.
Okay.
But let's attack.
On 3 then, okay? What do you want to do?
I am gonna cast Scorching Ray.
Okay, so he goes 1, 2, 3, and he just jumps on top of one of the guys with the sword. One of the guys who spun around to kind of see what's been happening. Scorching Ray is 3 different attacks. So you're going to roll 3 spell attacks to see which of them hit.
Okay. So 11.
Mm-hmm.
11 and 10.
And so that was your was that adding your spell roll? That was your D20?
That was rolling a D20 and adding 6 to each one.
Oof. So none of those, wait, what was the last one? I don't think any of those hit.
10. 11,
yeah,
and 10.
Yeah. So none of them hit. All your firebolts go wide. And he's like, Johnny, God damn it. As he's in the air, and he brings his his sword down on the head of one of the guys, but it clangs off of his helmet. He's the only guy with a helmet, and it clangs off the guy's helmet, and Dodge is like, now you made me fuck up too. Rolo gets up and tries to stab a guy with a dagger, and he does. Oh yeah, so Rolo takes out a guy with a dagger, and now there's 3 of them left. And Geffen, he's going to jump down. He also misses. He jumps down onto a guy from the roof, and he misses as well. And Clyde is going to circle around. Clyde has a bow, and he's going to shoot one of the remaining guys with the bow, and he hits. So he is going to do 4 damage. That's not enough to take out that guy, though. And so, oh boy, we're running out of time according to the timer. The bandits are going to start attacking. None of them have ranged weapons or anything, so one of them's going to stab Rollo. Okay, they stab him 3 times. 8.
Isn't going well.
5, 13, 16. Okay. Okay, so Rollo dies. Rollo's dead.
No, not Rollo.
You flash back to when you were remembering the story after the princess got taken away, when Rollo was alive fighting next to you, and you go, wait a second, you're not Rollo. And you look at him again, and it's not Rollo. You were completely you thought it was Rollo. You remembered him being Rollo, but actually, this guy next to you in this kind of framing narrative timeline is a guy named Lad. He's a different guy. So Rollo actually died. So yeah, I guess it's a cliffhanger is that Rollo is dead. I don't know. But yeah, so tune in to see who will win the fight. You know, we've suffered some losses, but can we pull it out? Who knows? You got anything to plug, Kevin? What, got more shows coming up?
Yeah, we got Real Life Sci-Fi coming up next with Aaron and Savan taking over for this week.
Nice.
And yeah, so stick around. If you're not watching this live, watch SchrobHomeVideo.com on Sunday nights.
Yeah, and I'm trying to do this Big Dogs D&D thing. Go to twitch.tv/Frank Howley or twitch.tv/The Sixler for mine. But I'm going to be, we're going to be doing it on Frank Howley's Twitch stream. We're going to try and do it Tuesday night at I think 6 p.m. Pacific time. So this Tuesday we'll try and do another one. I don't know if we're always going to do that time, but definitely this week. Come see us do wacky D&D. We're trying to bring back the Taco Bell that was stolen by the Doritos Locos Kobolds. So, hopefully we can put a stop to their cheesy ways. And that's what's going on the Big Dog stream. I also have a Patreon, not Twitch, whatever. But I talk too much about the Patreon anyway. Kevin, this is your show now. This is the Kevin everyone fucking loves Kevin and hates Spencer podcast now. That's what it's called. No, but do you have it? Do you want to do a special Kevin-y sign off?
No, I love yours. That's the highlight of my show for you to do it.
Okay, so as always, like we always say, carrots are the enemies of the godly. Oh my God, we forgot. We're going to do the talking to the audience thing next week. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. Kevin, I ruined the show.
It's okay. I forgot to set it up.
Oh boy, fine. That's fine.
Starburns Audio.